right, moving right along. This one here is a 2022 also rookie Royce Lewis variation. This one's his SSP or super short print variation. This one I did crack out of a SGC and it got a 9.5 with them. And you know what? That's very fair. I think a lot of their issue is going to be the same issue as CGC, is the centering from left to right. The centering from top to bottom actually looks pretty darn good, but left to right, you can see it's a little bit off on there. But as far as the surface is concerned, no issues on the surface. Front door back. And as far as the corners and edges, they look pretty darn good. So I'm halfway expecting this to come back just like with SGC as a 9.5. For our next variation, this one got a 10. SGC rated it a 9.5. Well, CGC took another look at it and decided that this was a 10. And I can't blame them. There's just slightly OC, but it's within the 55-45 threshold. And I measured it myself before it went out and I agreed with them. It's within that threshold, so. Nice card. For our next variation, 2023, the Golden Mirror SSP. I could not find a single thing wrong with this card. The centering is great. Left, right, top, bottom. Surface looks great. All our edges and corners looking very good. I'm thinking a 10. Let me know down in the comments what you think about some of these. For our next image variation, this one's from 2023, we got a 10. No surprise here, this card looks perfect. In fact, this one I had kind of as a candidate of maybe being a pristine 10, which would have given me the gold 10 number here. But one thing that is a little bit frustrating is I guess the card was just slightly oversized for the cases that they have. So this ended up being in basically a plastic baggie inside a larger case, which, you know, isn't the greatest of the eye appeal for me because now it kind of even looks lopsided in there. Like it didn't even fit in there correctly. So now it free flows and moves just a hair every once in a while. So I'm going to be a little more careful with this one. I don't want it to get damaged inside the case. But, you know, still happy it got a 10. Happy it's in this slab and it's in the PC. And our next variation, the 2024 Series 1. I just love this picture. Alex Kirilloff is giving him a bear hug. Michael A. Taylor is not really knowing what's going on there in the background. but this looks like a very exciting one. I can tell this one's probably not going to get a 10 for a couple reasons. One being it might be a little bit off-centered top to bottom. This just seems really thin down here on the bottom. A little bit thicker here on top. And the other reason, I'm going to flip it over to the back, you can see that this corner right here has got a little bit of white fuzz on it. Just a slight ding. This one's got a slight ding, so corners are probably a, 8.5 or a 9. But other than that, the edges look good. Surface looks good. So, not expecting a 10. Most likely a 9 on this guy. But that's okay. It's all about the collection. All right. For our next image variation, got a 6. I'm not too terribly surprised. We kind of expected it. I was kind of hoping to get a 7 on this one. Just like you saw probably just a moment ago, we got some whitening on the black corners there. Some of the edges on the back look a little suspect. There's that corner again, but no creases or anything. So the eye appeal of the card looks fantastic, but unfortunately there's going to be a 6 up there. But you know what? Again, I don't care. I'm just happy to own the card, and we got her slabbed up. It's going to be in my collection for a long, long time. All right, now I got to throw a few extra ones in here for getting the count up to 25. There's going to end up being 26 here, but I needed it up to 25 to get the bulk rate. But this one's a Joe Mauer Bowman. This one's the gold variation. You can see his signatures in gold there. Beautiful looking card, but there's a couple things about it that makes me a little unsure. I was unsure when I bought it, but I'm hoping that it turns out to be good. The first thing being here, one thing that I noticed, if you look at the top, you see how this almost looks like it's cut uneven on the top. Like, my fear is that it could be altered, and we're gonna find out when it comes back. But the other one is this bottom edge. You can see it more so on the back here. Now, this type of fraying that you see here, it could be that this particular year, what was it, 2022? I'm sorry, 2002. They may have still been using wires to cut the cards out instead of a, what do you call it? What's the thing that goes shoo? A knife? I don't know. They probably were using something like that back in those days, and then that ends up getting you kind of a frayed edge when it makes its actual cut. So that's kind of my guess, but if that's the case, then they should be able to not dock this card so much on that. But hey, we're going to be learning something with this one. We'll see what it comes back as. Again, there's not too much with the surface other than this little spot right here. There's a little bit of an indentation. I don't know if you can see that on that edge. You can't really see it on the edge, but you can definitely see it when the light hits it. There we go. When the light hits it just right, you can see that right there. But that's the only surface flaw that I could find. Of course, other than
this frayed edge here. But I don't know. It's a great card. I love that it's in my collection. I'm halfway expecting this to get like a 7 or an 8, but anything higher than that, it'll be because that they, like I said, it's a manufacturing thing, so they wouldn't dock me on that if that's the case. So we'll see what we get.
All right. Now for our Joe Mauer. We're done with Royce. We're moving on to a couple other twins, and this one got a 7, which is pretty darn close to what we thought we would get. We do have to contact CGC on this one because I do believe a mistake was made, not in the grade, but in the label. This one is a gold signature variation. You can see there. The regular version of this card, I probably should have grabbed one because I do have one before I filmed this, but it has the black facsimile signature on there. This one has the gold signature variation, which I think is supposed to be denoted up here. So I'm going to be reaching out to CGC to see if it's supposed to be this way or if they made a mistake. I have a feeling they made a mistake, but you know, we'll cross that bridge. You know, of course, this is what got it the 7, the little rough cut edge. And, both of these corners, you know, I guess because of the rough cut edge, but hey, no worries. I'm happy to have it. It's a Hall of Famer in the Twins organization. It got a 7. I'm perfectly fine with that. Let's just get the label changed to reflect the right parallel of the card. All right, next up is a Tony Oliva autograph. I believe this was, what year was this? 2021 All-Star Rookie Cup. And I had not, this is hard to believe if you know anything about me, I had not had an autograph of Tony Oliva until now. And I needed to get this slabbed up, so I figured, hey, we'll just put it on the Royce Lewis submission. This is another one. I could not find anything as far as surface related. It may be a little bit off-centered from top to bottom. It is super close. I used one of my tools here to measure it, and I think it's right at the 55-45, but you know, someone else might read it a little bit differently. I might be reading it optimistically. Here it is for the back. No surface issues there. Edges and corners look great. So it's either a 9 or a 10, or I guess a 9.5, but I don't know. Still a great card. All right, for our next Hall of Famer, we got a 9. And once again, no real surprise there. The top to bottom centering is about off, but hey, what a nice looking card. Signed by a Twins Hall of Famer. You know, can't shake a stick at that. Beautiful. All right, this one's a little bit of a wild card. I pack pulled this back when I was a kid. I think it was like 1996. Yeah, 96. I loved Metal Universe. It was one of my favorite things to buy. I was always looking for the Kirby Puckett, or of course, you know, Ken Griffey Jr. He was the GOAT back in those days, and
Man alive. This is the platinum variation. Back when they had usually only one parallel, this was the parallel, and this is the one that you wanted. And I had this in one of those cases, you know, the ones back in the day that you use screws in the four corners. I have been told that those things actually cause more harm than good in the long run, especially when you grade. So it could come back as altered because the pressure on the corners ends up causing some pancaking down here, which, you know, a grader might look at that and think that somebody's been doing some hanky-panky with these cards. I really hope I didn't tighten it too tight. I don't think I did. It looks good to me in these corners. But, you know, if they're looking at it under a microscope, you know, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I still love this card. I'm never gonna give it up. It just looks fantastic. There's the back side. Do I expect this to get a 10? No, not really. Mostly because of this corner right here. If this is the corner that ends up being smashed with the, or not smashed, but like tightened a little bit too much with the screw when I screwed it in, whoopsie doodle. But, you know, I would be happy with a 9 on this one. We'll see what we get.
Now on to the one that is, or one of the two that is not from the Twins organization. Oh my goodness, my focusing just went weird. There we go. 8.5. Hoping for a 9, but you know what? 8.5 is just fine. I'm sure what dinged this one is going to be, again, the corners. You can tell on the back. I'm sure you just saw the preview, and you know that's what was going to get it. But you know what? I pack pulled this when I was a kid, and I think it's an awesome card from a great Hall of Famer also.
From back in the day when you could get a card that was a true gold. Man, this was like some type of gimmick that this company Bleacher came up with, where they actually made the cards out of 23 karat gold. I mean, that's obviously still cardboard. It's just embossed in 23 karat gold. Man alive. These things were crazy. There's no number on it to go off of. It was pretty difficult to get this thing on the order form submitted. But I wanted to get this slabbed up because this has a little bit more significance to me. This is the Cal Ripken Jr. from breaking the record 2,131 consecutive games. I was actually at the game when it was his 2,000th game. It was in Minnesota at the Metrodome, and man, that entire dome was packed for that one. It was an electric experience, and yeah, pretty awesome. I wanted to get this, you know, more so for myself than anything else. So what do you grade something like this? I mean, I have no idea. I mean, it could come back as really anything, and I'd be okay with anything. So, what's my prediction on this? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
And for our Cal Ripken, they did grade it. We got a 9. And I'm surprised to note that not only did they grade it, but they created a whole separate category for me. This is now a Pop 1, not only of Cal Ripken, but this entire set. So, you know, maybe people will start sending them in now that they see that they actually do grade these. But, you know, awesome card. You know, again, I think I told you the story on how, or the reason why I bought this card, so I won't go into it again, but I just love to see it behind a slab. It is awesome. Cal Ripken, Iron Man.
And for our 26th card, it is a Byron Buxton. This is 2024's version of the 1989 Topps. This one's out of 25 because it's the red parallel. Obviously autographed by Byron Buxton, who has one of the tightest autographs I've ever seen. It's like that on every one of his. I got a couple of his autographs. And they're all like that, pretty much. But centering looks fantastic. The problem that you run into with the 1989s is that the back is all black on the border, and one of these, if I'm not mistaken, which one is it? Yeah, I think it's this one right here, has the tiniest of dings, and even though it's a tiny ding, it still looks white. Like even this edge right here has a little bit of whiteness to it. So I think these are darn near impossible to gem up because, you know, just the way the coloring is. But, you know, what are you gonna do? I don't care. It's an awesome looking card. So what am I expecting? Probably a 9.5. If it gets a 10, hey, fantastic.
And for our final card of the submission, 8.5. Byron Buxton, red parallel auto, with the smallest auto in the business. Not too shabby. This is just one of those 1989 sets that are just impossible to grade well, even when it's packed fresh pulled like this one was. It's these corners. It's the corners that are going to get you every time for this particular year, even in the 2024 version of it. That's tough. But, you know, given that this is out of 25, an autograph of Byron Buxton, I'm happy with it. So that's all of them. I hope this was entertaining to you guys. Whoop. I'm still working out the kinks. This is a new channel for me, so gotta work on my camera angles and camera work, but you know what? You know, this is how we learn, by actually trying to do things. But I hope you guys learned a little bit about not only CGC, but you know, how to look your cards over for grading. By the looks of things, we were mostly right. We were wrong on a couple things. There's a couple things that I missed, but you know, we did end up finding them later. So yeah, if you'd like to like and subscribe, and we'll trying to bring some more content out on not just submissions, but some other things, baseball cards. So thanks guys, and you have a wonderful day.